Example 14 on page 429. Subtract this fraction and this fraction. To subtract the two fractions, one thing you need to have is denominator in the first fraction and denominator of the second fraction both have to be the same. So for the first fraction, the denominator is x minus 2y. For the second fraction, the denominator is 2y minus x. Now, they are different, right? But if you pay attention closely, you will see this. This first one has positive x minus 2y. This second denominator has positive 2y, negative x. Positive x, negative 2y, positive 2y. So they are the same, but the sign of the terms are different. The opposites, right? So if I decide to factor out the negative side of this second denominator, okay, factor the negative, I would have 2y here, right? Negative times 2y is, sorry, I have to have negative here. Because negative times negative 2y is positive 2y. It's good to double check. So negative times what is negative x? Got to be positive x, right? Because negative times positive is negative, and the x go here. Alright, let me rewriting the inside of the parentheses. Basically, I will switch the position of the two terms to x here, positive x, subtract 2y. Okay, I'm just switching the two terms position. Alright, what do you see? The inside is x minus 2y, right? It's actually the same as x minus 2y here, which is denominator of the first fraction. This is denominator of the second fractions. So if you factor out the negative side of this second denominator, of this denominator of the second fraction, you would get the inside, you would get the x minus 2y. So basically, these two denominators are the same, but opposite side, right? They're the same, x minus 2y. The only thing different is that they have opposite side, different sides. Alright. Now, think about LCD. You can use this denominator as LCD or this denominator as LCD, but since we already work out the second denominator, factor this out, let's choose this one as the LCD, x minus 2y. So that means you need to convert the denominator of these two fractions to x minus 2y, the LCD, okay? For the first fraction, you don't have to do anything because its denominator, x minus 2y, is the LCD. So let me rewriting the original problems. So the first fraction right here, it already has denominator same as the LCD, so I don't have to do anything. Just rewriting the original fraction. For this fraction, denominator is not the same as LCD, okay? But let me rewriting this 2y minus x, okay? 2y minus x as this in terms of the LCD, okay? So minus x minus 2y, okay? Rewriting the first fraction. We still cannot combine them yet because both still have this different denominators. Okay? Now, this denominator can be written as x minus 2y. Remember our goal is to get to have the same LCD denominator, okay? For the second fraction, we want the second fraction to have x minus 2y as the denominator. So let me rewriting this denominator as x minus 2y times negative 1. Okay? Right? negative 1 times the whole thing is still negative right here, x minus 2y. This and this are the same, just equivalent, just different way of writing it. Now, how do we remove this negative 1? If you remove this negative 1, you would get the x minus 2y, right? Which is LCD. Then these two fractions have the same denominator, right? But we need to remove this negative 1. Or think about how to make this negative 1 become 1. 1 time x minus 2y is x minus 2y. Negative 1 will become 1 if you multiply negative 1 at the bottom. Okay? So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Positive 1 times x minus 2y is x minus 2y. Alright, so we multiply negative 1 to the bottom, we change the original problem, so they're not going to be equal. So to compensate for the change, you multiply by negative 1 on top. In doing that, negative 1 divided by negative 1 is 1. So what you just did is that you take the second fraction, you multiply by 1, and 1 times the second fraction is itself, second fraction. Alright. Simplify this. You still have the same first fraction for this. Negative times negative is positive, okay? So this x minus 2y times 1 come from negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Multiply numerator with numerator, you have negative 1 times the whole thing is negative of 3y minus 7. Okay? Simplify further. Rewriting the first fractions minus negative 3y minus 7. X minus 2y times 1 is x minus 2y. Okay? Now look at that. Look at the two fractions. They both have the same denominator now, right? X minus 2y. So from here, you can combine these two fractions as one fraction, x minus 2y, denominator, okay? The common denominator go here at the bottom, and then combining or subtracting the two numerators, you have 5x, subtract here, okay? Subtract, don't forget you have another subtract here. So subtracts, okay, from here. This subtract come from here. This subtraction come from here. This subtraction come from here, okay? And then 3y minus 7. Okay? Equal x minus 2y. 5x. Now, negative times negative is positive. So you would have positive of the whole thing, 3y minus 7. Okay? Simplify further, you have 5x plus 3y. Positive times this 3y. Positive times this negative 7 is negative 7. Divide by x minus 2y. Now look for all the terms to see if they're like terms. You would combine or simplify. This is x term, this is y term. You cannot simplify any further for the numerator, and you cannot factor. With this, you cannot factor out. And for the denominator, same thing, you cannot factor any further. So this is the answer for example 14. From subtracting the two fractions,